listening to Retro Station, a retro game podcast. Today they're talking about a game where you gather 108 friends together. Just getting their number of friends in the double digits is a stretch for these three.
Hey everybody, welcome to Retro Station, a retro game podcast. I'm David.
I'm Hilary.
And I'm Steven.
Quick note, my youngest kid took the film windscreen off my microphone earlier this week and decided it was a good Cheerios bowl. Luckily just dry Cheerios. So if the sound is kind of crummy, that's why. But it did happen though. It really did.
Yeah.
So what's new, guys? What you been doing?
I've basically been playing this game all week since it's a big RPG. So.
Yeah, it's hard to play other things, but wait, what did you do? Because I feel like...
I've done a lot of different stuff, video game and non-video game related. So I played a little bit of this game as well as like refresh my memory on it. I watched my son play this game a bit. And then the usual Baldur's Gate 3.
Did you restart again?
Nope. I'm in Act 2 and I move it along. I fought a dragon. I don't know if it's a legit part of the story or if it's part of my mod add-on bosses, but there was a dragon there. And then I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've done that a couple times.
Like an actual physical activity, not a game called Brazilian. Okay, just
correct. Physical activity. And then I purchased. Let me show you what I purchased. I purchased 4 games, which was nice because it was on Steam. So
yeah,
you get a good deal for the purchase of like one brand new regular game, right? If you were to buy it physical. I got Stardew Valley. I have owned that for the Switch, but I wanted it on my Steam Deck. Owlcat was having a sale. Probably not anymore when this comes up. But they had Rogue Trader.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous for, I think, both of them was $25.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Yeah. And then I got a Wasteland 3 bundle.
Oh, cool.
So, Wasteland plus a bunch of DLCs for that. Cool. It's like $60 after tax. Actually, a free game that's on Steam. It's like a demo. It's called Half Sword.
Okay, yeah.
And it's very like ragdoll physics. And you start off as like a peasant with nothing. And it's kind of gladiator style. So you have to roam around in the fog and find weapons and armor. And then you have to beat up the other people, take their weapons, and slowly upgrade. And then once you make it to a boss, then you get to like some save point, and then you rank up. I haven't beaten the first level. It is very hard for me because you have to like one mouse button is, and I don't know if it's on controller yet because very new and it's still a demo. One mouse button controls the right arm. Or left arm. One mouse button controls the right arm.
Oh, man.
And then to swing, you have to hold it down and, like, move your mouse button. Or move your mouse to, like, swing. And then, like, space bars kick. But it's funny when you don't have weapons because I don't know if it's something that they're going to fix. But if you hold down both and then you just, like move your mouse super fast, you're like... Doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's just funny to watch.
That's awesome. I miss crazy ragdoll physics. It seems like most games used to have them, like before they figured out how to program people falling realistically. And I will take people with their limbs flinging in every direction when you shoot them or whatever every day over like a realistic fall. I think it's so funny. I think it adds to any game, no matter what. It's
one of the reasons why I like the human fall flat game.
Yeah, that is entirely absurd ragdoll physics, for sure.
I like it too when it's like slightly delayed. So like when your guy hits somebody and then they take the damage and then they like die, but then they ragdoll.
Yeah, or they just keep twitching on the ground. Like some part of them is shaking uncontrollably forever.
Yeah.
God, that's the best. Man, they need to start. Don't worry about the quality of the death so much. Just like leave it crazy. I actually think like most games, they should have a mode in there you can turn on where it just leaves some of the last bugs that they took out in. So you still have like the ridiculous, like nothing game breaking, but just ridiculous stuff that
you'd love Bethesda games.
I do love Bethesda. It made me so happy to find out that when they did the Oblivion remaster, they kept it, like, they didn't change any of the wacky nonsense that could happen in Oblivion. They kept all that in, so you could still have the guy being like, "Oh, I don't know where the mountain lions are," as they're like biting on their arm. Like, we gotta go find them. They could be hiding anywhere. Like, they're hiding on your arm, sir. That's where they are.
Did you play the remaster, or did you download it?
I downloaded it, but I haven't started yet because time. So, one thing that happened, my device that I played Suikoden on, it updated. And either because it updated while I was playing a game, or maybe I did something to interrupt it, it now will not boot all the way, which is really annoying. But it is an Android device, and one thing that's kind of cool is they figured out how to load Steam onto Android using a Windows emulator, which they've had the Windows emulator, but they couldn't do Steam before, and now they have. So the tricky thing is figuring out how the specs of a computer relates to the specs of an Android device to figure out what you can play. So I think in some of the ones I have, it's not like I'll be playing Baldur's Gate 3. That's probably way too advanced, but I could probably, play some games that were 5 or 10 years ago pretty impressive. So I think that's really neat. I'm excited about that. I didn't play a lot other than this game, just, again, because it's massive, and I was trying to get through as much as I could in between editing and whatnot. But I did have a 10-minute break at work, and I played on the PlayStation a game called Cotton Fantastic Night Dreams. This is a Japanese game, but I had a fan translation, and it's part of a big series. It's been going on since the 16-bit days, I think, and I think its most recent one was either 2021 or 2023. There was like a 20-year break in there somewhere, but it is. So we talked a couple weeks ago about shoot 'em ups, and I talked about the different kinds, but I completely neglected one of the kinds of shoot 'em ups, and these are called cute 'em ups, and they play exactly the same, but they're kind of cute. So in this one, you're playing a redheaded witch, riding a broomstick, and fighting kind of cute enemies. But other than that, it plays exactly the same. There's cute little anime scenes. It's actually a really good series. I was playing on easy, which is actually way too easy. Like, I'm getting through the bosses before they have a chance to do almost anything to me. But I want to crank up the difficulty. I want to either get my device fixed or on a different device and try it again a little bit harder. But it's good. I mean, it's a quality series. All those games are fun. I think this particular one had a version on like the Neo Geo Pocket Color and a bunch of other places, and then the Saturn had, I think, like a sequel to it. Also in Japan. I think the one that came out in the US was the Neo Geo Pocket one. I'm not even sure if that came out in the US. For some reason, they've kept that away from us. But it's a good series. It's kind of well known in the shoot 'em up community, so that was kind of fun. I needed something a little less involved, if I was going to play on a break anyway, just to lighten up my brain a little bit. But yeah, it's a fun game. And one thing that's kind of interesting about it, and it's going to lead into a conversation I wanted to have, is as you shoot things, a lot of them will drop gems, and as you get them, there's different colors and they do different things, but you have an experience bar at the bottom. And your experience goes up, and then when it hits its the end, it doesn't say like level up or anything, but your shots essentially get stronger. So they'll become more powerful. You'll get like a little fairy flying around you that'll also shoot. Things like that. It'll just get stronger as you go. So essentially you are leveling up, but it doesn't say level up, but it still uses an experience kind of meter. And that was kind of interesting that I ran across that because I didn't know that was part of the game. But one thing I wanted to talk about is what an RPG actually is. And I know that seems pretty obvious probably to most people that are listening to this, but I've seen games attributed as being an RPG that I wouldn't usually have thought of as an RPG. As an example, I think I saw Elden Ring as an RPG, and it does have leveling up and skill progression and whatnot and a big quest story, so I suppose so, but it never occurred to me when I'm playing this is an RPG of some kind. It always was just kind of like an action-adventure game, and you could, get better, basically. But that's also kind of like an action RPG. If you think about it, it's just a 3D version of that. So I was curious if you guys have, like, any kind of criteria for what you would consider an RPG in a game.
I feel like RPG is like a... When I was first starting to play RPGs, I always thought of them as one way, and I always thought of them as, like, the type of game that we played this week. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting because now RPG doesn't seem like a giant genre anymore. It seems like a tagline genre, like a subgenre, because now you have, like you were mentioning, action RPGs, CRPGs, which are computer-based ones, isometric, Japanese RPGs, They even differentiate them from the different regions that they are now.
Yeah.
Right.
American RPGs versus Japanese RPGs versus French RPGs, tactical RPGs. I mean, I don't know. My definition that I would think of for RPG would be something that is you have a main character and you follow their progression throughout the game, and the storyline kind of affects them. So you fall into like the role of the main character. And then I also think, and this might not be everybody's opinion, but I always feel like something has to improve with the character through the game system. Not because like you have games like you have Elden Ring. Elden Ring, you do have to improve your own skill, but there is like
The actual character gets better.
your character, you can level them up. But like when you look at, this one's hard, like Zelda Breath of the Wild, the character never gets better. You can get equipment, but the equipment's always been there. Like I could run to the last part of the game, get the best equipment, right?
Right.
And then it breaks. But but like you don't level well, but you do, I guess. You do get more hearts,
Yeah,
you get more
hearts.
climbing and stamina. But that's interesting. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think for me, it's like, okay, I'm playing as a character. A lot of times when I'm thinking of an RPG, a lot of times I am thinking more of a JRPG type game where you have at least some kind of party with you typically, but you play as the main character and they get stronger as you play. And it's not just like some of the original Marios where you just collect one-ups to keep progressing in the game, and you have some power-ups, but like they don't last. So that I don't consider an RPG, but I do consider Zelda to be an RPG because you do start getting stronger throughout the game.
Yeah, Zelda actually is one of the ones. I mean, just in general, the Zelda games are one of the ones where I was like, I don't know, is it? Like, I always considered it one day when I was younger, but I think it's just because I was like, well, you're kind of elfy and you're in a fantasy world, so I guess. But I mean, you do improve. Your hearts at least improve as you go, so that makes sense. So what I'm wondering is, if we're just at a point now where games have gotten so complicated where there might be one category that it fits in most, but it's rare to find a game that doesn't have elements of something else. Like, I would have trouble looking at this game I played, Caught in Fantastic Night Dreams, even though it has experience and you improve when your experience goes up. I'd have a lot of trouble calling that an RPG. Even though there's a story, you're technically on a quest. I guess your shots are probably magic. I don't know, not that it has to be magic, but like, it's nothing about the gameplay feels like an RPG. Even though it's action, I don't even feel like I could call it an action RPG, but kinda.
I think where the big difference kind of becomes into play is what is the majority of the game. So like that majority of that game, it isn't an RPG. It's mostly a shooter type game. So it's a lot like if you're kind of looking at like a spectrum of what type of game it is, it has a very slight RPG to it, but the vast majority of it is a shooter. So I think that's where it can get a little complicated, but I think a lot of people try to kind of like lump a game into like, okay, what does the majority of the game feel like?
Right.
Is there a story progression in the game?
Yeah, it's silly. I mean, it's not super deep, but there is one, unlike a lot of them. So yeah, you get little kind of anime cutscenes between each level, and it's all ridiculous, like goofy anime stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's something there.
Also, a definition that I could think of, I don't necessarily portray it onto video games, which is interesting because I would portray it onto like board games or story games in that sense. But like role-playing, usually you have some input on the story as well, which immerses you into it. So like you could do one dialogue that leads you down X path or another dialogue that leads you down Y path, and maybe they railroad back into the main storyline, but I feel like a role-playing game should have some sort of player input as well.
Yeah, I tend to like that, although when you go further back, especially, not so much more recent ones, you get into like the earlier RPGs, like the ones on NES and whatnot, and you're usually a silent protagonist, like you don't say anything. The person will just be like, oh, you should go over here and do this, and maybe your person will like jump or whatever because it's happy. Who knows? Like, you know, you get little like animations or their reaction even somewhat, but you don't always choose what they're gonna do or what they're gonna say. Or if you say no, I'm not going to do that, they'll be okay. I'll come back when you say yes, and then you kind of have to. So it's kind of it's a pointless question. But I would still say those are RPGs. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be too that the definition of that just has changed, where that was okay for early ones because it was in its infancy, but now we need a little more. Maybe, but at the same time, if another one came out that was like those early ones,
yeah, I would still consider that. I don't think it. I think you're trying to narrow the definition down, and I think the definition has gotten broader.
Yeah, so another ridiculous example that I'm curious of what you think about this. I don't know that either of you have played this, but it's not that complicated to describe. So, Forza Horizon 5, it's a racing game, right? You start off, people talk to you like, hey, oh, you're here to join the thing. Oh, that's great, cool. Oh, what car do you want? You want that one? Okay, neat, go drive. And then as you go, you win races, you get money where you can upgrade your car. And granted, you're upgrading I guess you could say you're upgrading your equipment and not you, but since the equipment is the only thing you ever use, you don't use you outside of the equipment, you're improving yourself. I wouldn't call it an RPG, but
I think that goes back to what's the majority of the game.
Yeah.
The majority of the game is a racing game.
Yeah.
Versus...
Like, I wouldn't consider a football, baseball, soccer, like the management mode, where, yes, you do play the game, yes, you trade and upgrade people, but yeah, I wouldn't consider that like an RPG. So I feel like yours would be kind of in that kind of genre.
Yeah, I'm going to like a way extreme. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I think that's an RPG or an action RPG, or I would even struggle to say it has RPG elements.
I'd call it
I feel like most RPG has like
a card playing game. There you go. Yeah, that's right.
I feel like most RPGs have some kind of battle system attached to it. So
now, are you guys familiar with the Harvest Moon games?
Yeah, I love them.
It's more or less like what's that new one? The new
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley. Yeah, where you're creating a farm, and you can talk to the townsfolk, and you can build relationships, and you have to tend to your farm, or things will die, etc. And I always kind of thought of it as an RPG, but like, I actually don't even know if that one has a leveling system, and you don't battle anybody in that.
But Stardew Valley, you do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't played very much of that.
Stardew Valley, you can go into the mines and battle.
So maybe Stardew Valley, would you call that an RPG? I haven't played enough to...
You want to see if Steam calls it an RPG?
Well, Steam is like what made me think of this, so I'm like, what?
Well, while you're looking that up, what's funny is that last week when we were recording, when I went inside, a lot of times when we're recording, our kids are inside playing together, and when I went inside, our oldest kid was playing Metopia, and I walked in on them fighting about whether or not that was an RPG.
I had no idea that happened when I thought of this topic.
When I looked at, you told me about this, and when I looked at Metopia, it seems like an RPG.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's an RPG. I think our middle child was the one arguing, and I think she was actually trying to just argue for argument's sake. I don't think she actually thought it was an RPG, but I think she was just trying to kind of rile the other ones up.
Farming sim. Pixel graphics, life sim. Doesn't say it's an RPG.
Yeah.
But I also don't think you level up like you do in other things.
Yeah.
You get better weapons. You get better equipment.
I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting because I'm not going to go into every single game I can possibly think of because there's probably a million of them now that have some kind of RPG element. I think that's like one of the first things that I saw really getting integrated into other stuff where there's like, hey, we need to like keep people engaged and it makes people want to keep playing. But I don't know. I think it's just like I wouldn't get mad at anyone for claiming most things or certain particular things are RPGs as long as there's some kind of a tie to it. I might look at them weird if they said Forza. I was really pushing with that one, but sure.
I don't know. I feel like if you can immerse yourself into any game, you can call it an RPG. I don't think that there's probably people out there that would get offended if you called certain things an RPG, but I'm not going to get offended if you, hey, do you want to check out this new RPG I played, and it's Harvest Moon 8.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
But see, what if I was like, oh, you gotta play this RPG. Sit down and play Forza Horizon with me. Like, yeah, I mean, I would, like, honestly.
Again, I think it just goes back to, like, what's the majority of the game?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
No,
like-
and again, I would not call Forza Horizon RPG. I would just say there's progression and, like, you know, all this stuff. But, yeah, okay. Yeah, I sound like none of us are super, super firm, like, really stuck in, like, we will not accept any variance from a particular definition, which I think we kind of have to be at this point, just because of how.
Are there many multiplayer RPGs?
Not many. Like there's Secret of Mana back on SNES was like the first one I was aware of. There's a game called like Twin Dungeon or something like that on the TurboGrafx. There's Divinity 2. Shoot, what is the stupid name of this game? Divinity 2 Divinity Original Sin 2. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
That one.
I know.
You can multiplayer. I can't. It's got too many things. You do Baldur's Gate, right?
Yeah, you can do Baldur's Gate.
I think you do Neverwinter Nights back in the... It's usually on PC more often than...
I was gonna say, it seems like it's more the, like, online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess yes. Technically, there's
Like-
a whole genre
Yeah.
that I've
aside
totally blanked. Aside
MMOs,
from those,
though,
Yeah.
Not. It's not very common. I think it's because those games are usually really long. So unless it has a system where you can, you know, drop in or out easily, it's kind of. I don't think too many people in a situation where they're going to play with someone for 40, 50, 60 hours regularly, very easily.
Speaking of which, I used to play MMOs a lot, and then trying to look into like current MMOs, I don't even know what to. I think there's Final Fantasy 14 that's supposed to be pretty big, but it's also been out a while.
Right.
So I feel like it's one of those weird things, like you have to, and I don't know, I haven't played it, but when I played Final Fantasy 11, I had a bunch of friends that played Final Fantasy 11. So it was a lot of fun to get on with them.
Right.
But going in like solo, I don't know how much I'd be interested, especially if some people are already
Yeah.
X level ahead of me. And
Yeah, I was really into those for a long time too, and I started with EverQuest, and what was funny is like I was not even trying to team up with people. I was a necromancer, and you could increase your standing with various groups depending on what you did, so they might like you more. And so my goal was just to become the most well-loved necromancer in all of Norath, right? So I was just like, I'd go places and first people would attack me on side, or they would hate me and they wouldn't want to deal with me. And I was trying to get to the point where they'd be like, oh, okay, I'll sell you something. And I was trying to make everyone fall in love with my necromancer, even though he's a necromancer. That was my stupid goal. And then I played Anarchy Online, which was, I love it. That was my favorite one. I don't think it would be most people's favorite one. And I loved it because I got in a really cool guild, and they were very role-play-y. But then when they started doing more, they started incorporating more like raids and that kind of stuff in, that kind of fell apart because there was the group that really wanted to be super hyper-organized and all this, and the group that just still wanted to be kind of chill and role-play, and I was in that second group. Like, I don't want to play one where it's like, you have to be so on point and everyone's like yelling like military orders. I don't want to do that. Like, if there's raids, that's fine. I just want to be kind of casual though, where you just go and shoot your things off. Let's not freak out and act all crazy about it. Like, and I think that's what a lot of them kind of are now. So I'm not, and I don't have the time for it anyway. But I'm not super inclined to.
yeah, I feel like also you have to be on top of those games too.
Yeah, and I
Keep
wouldn't
up.
be. If I joined a group, everyone would outlevel me, like, quickly, because I just can't play that often, so. Did you ever play an MMO?
We played City of Heroes a little bit together, and then my roommate played WoW and met her husband playing WoW. So, but like I didn't play them too much because I've always had a weird schedule. So like being able to like get on and play at specific times have never been really a thing I can easily do. So
It's the best thing about MMOs. 24/7.
That's true, but if your friends are all
yeah, but like if they're like, hey, we're gonna do this raid at this time,
Right.
like I could pretty much never guarantee that I could do that raid. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse, but I was into, like I said, Final Fantasy 11, and I think right around that same time as when WoW came out, and because I knew the mechanics of Final Fantasy 11, I had people playing all that stuff. I didn't get into World of Warcraft, so kind of sad that I didn't get into it because it's blown up. It's huge. Like
Right.
it is, memes and everybody's, have
That's like
life
the number
changing
one
things, but like at
MMO
the same
that people
time, I
think
got to experience life
Yeah. That's
outside
overrated.
of the computer room.
I played WoW for a bit, but it was like after that word, so stupid and dramatic, stupid split happened in the Guild of Anarchy Online. Like me and a few of my friends were trying a bunch of different ones, and so that was one we tried, and it was inarguably the highest quality one as far as the gameplay and all that. But like, we couldn't recapture the magic of how the guild was when it was cool, and so just none of them stuck with me after that. So even though I thought this is a well-made game and it's neat and the characters are cool, like I just could never get quite as into it. So
We did also try out the Warhammer one when that first came out.
yeah, that was actually cool.
Yeah.
I liked that game. The Warhammer, what's it called? Shoot. Anyway, there's a Warhammer one.
Dark. Was it 40K or was it fantasy?
Fantasy.
Fancy.
Vermintide?
No, that's like a shooter. I was a dark elf something, and anyway, of course I was. But it was cool though. It was cool. It didn't last very long, unfortunately. But
And that's another thing. You have to hope that the developers keep it up.
yeah. I thought that one had a chance just because it has that IP, but I kind of forget that that's still kind of a niche thing. It's not actually like everyone knows Warhammer that much, but
And most people think 40K, not fantasy.
yeah, suckers. Anyway, that's it for those. All right, so I guess we should probably get to the game we played, Suikoden II.
Yep.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So Suikoden II is a JRPG developed and published by Konami for the first PlayStation. It was released in Japan in December of 98 and in the North Americas in 99 and then in Europe in 2000. So in the Suikoden games, each one's a little bit different, but the main thing that each of them have is that there's 108 Stars of Destinies that you... Basically, it means that there's a lot of 107 characters that you go around and recruit to your party because you're playing as the main character. In this particular game, there's only a little over 40 of them are actually playable characters in combat. So a lot of them are going to be support characters that will help you either through the storyline, they might help you run an item shop or the armory, or let you switch out your characters in your party. So a lot of them are just there for the storyline. And then along the lines of collecting the characters, some of them are very obvious what you're supposed to do for them. Some of them are not. One good example of that is in this game is there's a town that there's some bullies that are picking on girls. So you have to go into that town with an all-female party in order to get a bandit or in order to recruit someone who's going after those bandits that are beating up women. So there's some stuff where it's like unless you have a walkthrough, it's very difficult to get all 108 characters. In Suikoden 2, it takes place 3 years after the first Suikoden game, and it focuses on the invasion of city-state by the Kingdom of Highland. And you play as the main protagonist who gets one half of the Rune of Beginning, which is one of the 27 true runes. And runes in this game is how you are able to use magic. And then one other note before we get started, or two other notes I have before we get started. So in this game it has 3 modes of combat. There's the regular battles, which is like your standard RPG turn-based battle. There's duels, which is their version of rock, paper, scissors. Your opponent will say something before they do their move, and that will let you know what kind of attack that they're going to be doing. So you can pick whichever one will beat that move. And then there's massive battles, which is similar to a strategy type battle. And the last little note that I have on here is that they're actually in the middle of making an anime based off of this video game, and it's set to premiere next year in 2026.
Oh wow, I did not know that. That's
Is
cool.
it based on the series or is it based on the new video game Starleaf?
It's based off of Suikoden 2.
Oh, nice.
Oh, like that specific one.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
okay.
specific.
Oh.
And the name of it is Suikoden the Anime.
Ah, original name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so there's 5 mainline games in this series, and there's a few spin-offs. There's the new one that's coming out with Star Leap, and you're supposed to be able to jump back and forth. There is Suikoden Tactics. Sadly, I don't think that one made it very popular. And then there's 2, I don't know if it's 2 or 1 game split into like a few different discs, but there's Suikoden Gaiden or something like that.
Sounds right.
Where it's more of like a, what do they call it, like a storybook type game.
Right, like kind of visual novels.
Visual novel, that's the word I was looking for. But yeah, there's quite a few, and unlike Final Fantasy, where Final Fantasy 1 to 2 has like little to no relation except for I don't know, some guy named Sid.
Yeah.
They
Sid's and Chocobos.
Yeah.
Like,
right, like the fantasy world is similar, but sometimes they're not even on the same continent or planet, it seems.
Yeah.
But the Suikoden series is all about the same continent. You do run into reoccurring characters in the series, which I personally like, because it turns a single game RPG into like something you want to continue playing to get like a whole story arc. And like you said, this is 3 years after, so right when you escape in the beginning, you run into 2 of the main characters that were in the first one.
and that's one of the things that is also, I feel, at least at the time, was fairly unique to the Suikoden games too, is that you could actually kind of, like, when you start this game, it'll ask you if you have information from the first game to attach to the game, so...
Yeah, I had no idea that it did that. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing in this game. That was so shocking to me.
Number 3, I think, also does that. It doesn't change your 108 stars. You can still gold complete without uploading it, but you do get access to your hero character in the first game, Tyr McDough.
I'm going to talk about one specific character. I'm not going to give any story beats other than that you meet this character. It's about to where I was at. There's this vampire. I assume he's a vampire. His name is Necklord, which is, man, subtlety is not this guy's strength. Like he couldn't choose on the Necklord. But I guess he was in Suikoden 1, and I think he's in some of the Gaidens, or maybe both the Gaidens. And wow, he's like a super edgelord. And I guess in the Gaiden ones, they even start to kind of make fun of that, how over the top he is with his pipe organ and all this. Like he's really like. And I was thinking, this is by Konami, the same people who put out Castlevania, and I kind of wonder if this is sort of a nod to Dracula and that, how he keeps coming back. And I was like, I'm so glad that even though this Suikoden 2, they didn't take a cue from Castlevania 2, and you had to go around and get his body parts, and everyone gave you stupid ass clues that don't mean anything, like, oh, the red cape is under the lake if a squirrel's sleeping in the tree to the north. Like, I was so glad, but on the other hand, it would be kind of funny if they had. But I love him. I was like, this guy's ridiculous. I wanted to fight him, but he's so over the top. But I'm just glad there's another. It makes me want to play the other games more, just because I want to see this.
He's not in the third one, but yeah, he is definitely a main storyline in the first one, alongside Victor, who has to go and get like his own special sword that talks.
Yeah.
So that's the only way you can kill him. Otherwise, every time you swing at him, he like goes into bats.
I was so frustrated when I first fought him because I didn't know that, and I was like, what do I have to do to this man?
Alright, so now we're going to talk about all 108 characters.
Oh,
and which one's your favorite?
Oh, God.
No, but I know you originally have played this game and beat it, like, and you just kind of refresh your memory. Like, how far did you get in the game this time?
Vinny didn't make it very far.
Okay.
Yeah. Not too far at all.
Yeah. What about you?
Theoretically, when I looked up, this is about 25% of the way in. I was about to go and fight Necklord, the vampire, but then things happened. I was running out of time anyway because I had to edit. So, that's basically where I got to.
Yeah. I think I'm just under halfway through the game. I'm at the academy right now, but I'm playing it like I would normally play a JRPG, where I have a little bit of a walkthrough that I'm kind of trying to make sure that I'm collecting all the characters that I can. So doing a lot of side quests and whatnot too.
Yeah, I feel like especially with these type of games, the Suikoden games, if you only are interested in playing it once, you'll definitely want that walkthrough. But I really enjoy, like, if you're playing it through the first time, play it blind, and then discover what you get. If you get the golden ending, great. If not,
See, I got burned on that one Suikoden game where I kind of beat it, so I don't trust to not play these games without.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, especially in the original PlayStation ones, the first one, if you get to a save state and then come back and you don't remember where you were supposed to go in the map, it gets kind of weird.
I had a lot of trouble with this early on, actually, because I felt like there was a lot of times where it'd be, I'm going to make up a scenario here, this didn't happen, where it's like, oh, you know, what we do to solve this is we need to get the magical rock. Okay, and I'm waiting for it to say, oh, I heard it's in the cave to the north. Nope. We have to do it. Do I have to talk to somebody? Is it in this town? Is it in another town? Do I go a direction? What the hell am I supposed to do? Like, give me some kind of a hint somewhere, and maybe they did, and I'm just not saying. Or maybe
I think you just. I think you missed it.
I guess, but it seems very easy to miss because I swear I'm talking to everybody, and no one's telling me like where to go. I'm like, okay, well,
I think you just missed it.
I guess I have to search every single place on the continent to find whatever it is.
Because they usually are pretty good about saying, oh, it's to the northeast.
Yeah.
To the northwest.
Man, I don't know.
And then it's not like you can rotate the map. So north is up, south is down.
And the other thing that's nice with this game is that there's, on the world map, there's generally actual like roads that you can kind of follow too. So it's not just wandering through a forest.
Which was not in the first one.
Yeah.
Which is something to bring up. This game is really cool because it does have a world map.
Yeah.
And you walk on the world map, you can get boats eventually. And then each location that you go to is like a sub-map. The towns are usually like a top-down isometric, I guess, view. I guess it's not angled, but it's like a top-down, and then you can go into shops and stuff like that. And then there's also, when you go into caves or forests or something, it's like winding dungeons, which are usually fairly basic. They have like 2 paths. You go down one path, it has a dead end with a treasure chest, and then you have to go back and then get to another path.
Yeah.
Random encounters. I know that that's a big topic nowadays between random encounters in your old JRPGs versus, I don't know what you call them.
The monsters being on the map. So
monsters
you know,
being on the map. Yeah. And you can run into them.
I mean, this one does have the random ones, like you can't see them, but it's not, they don't come that often. Like, it's not constantly bombarding you with fights. There was one, like, I think when I first got over to the South Window City, I was like walking around the map, I'm like, oh, I guess there's not roaming monsters here yet, because I was walking forever, like a long time before something finally attacked me, and I really thought, oh, this region doesn't have monsters for some reason. And it's cool because you don't have to grind as much in this one, I don't think, as you do in some other JRPGs. I mean, somewhat, but it's not too over the top, and so you don't need to be hitting those fights constantly. And what's nice is that if you're having to travel to a place, or you just go the wrong way and you have to go back, it's not as big an ordeal. You're not going to have like 50 fights between where you're at and the city you're trying to go to. You might have 4 or 5, but it seems like a lot less than most other JRPGs I've played.
Yeah, I think the grindiness comes in is depending on like, oh, I just got a new character, and then depending on when you were supposed to get that character is what level they'll be. And then I think different regions in this game don't level up with you either.
Yeah.
So you could be when it gets annoying is when you have to like backtrack to like one of the first towns to do something, and then you're getting like bombarded with like squirrels that are level 2. And you either auto or you run, or
What's cool about this, and one of the things I was worried about, because you have, was it like up to 40 characters that you have in your team fighting?
Yeah, a little over 40.
I was like, well, if you have a team you like, but then you realize, oh, I need this person's skill, and you get him in your team, and he's like 20 levels below you, I thought, well, that's going to suck. But because the experience points you get scales based on the monster you're fighting, so if you're high level and you fight something too easy, you're barely going to get any experience. But if you fight something that's stronger compared to you, you'll get a lot more. So you put that lower level person in your party with the others, And they might go up multiple levels at once after a fight because they're so low level that they're getting a ton more experience for that fight than the rest of your people are, which I think is great. It makes it a lot easier to keep it so any team is viable, even if you have to switch a few of them out. As long as you can survive a fight or two, you'll be okay, and you can get them up to speed pretty quickly, which I think is brilliant. That's the way to do it.
I think level grindy is not what I would say. I would say, like, you really need the gold.
Yes.
Because in this game, you don't buy weapons. You buy armor, but you don't buy weapons. You have to go to a blacksmith and upgrade your weapons, and that you can only upgrade to the level of the blacksmith, which has to do with which act you're in, or I don't know. I don't even think there's acts, but
I think it's the city,
portion
basically.
Of the game, you're in, and then with that, you get more power. But you always have the same weapon that upgrades. And then to get the equipment, I always felt like, especially in Suikoden 1 and then somewhat in this game as well, when you got to the next town, you always seem to have just enough gold to like upgrade a couple people, but not necessarily your whole squad unless you're really grinding. And a squad is 6 people in your group that can act independently, or certain people that you find you get in groups, or they'll know each other from different regions, and you can do combo attacks. So like, especially the first, you and your best friend, you have like a combo attack, and the combo attacks can either like do twice or 3 times the amount of damage to one person, or they can do normal damage or half damage to like everybody. Some exhaust you.
Yeah.
And
That I don't like.
So there's so
There is
much.
a rune that you like can make you so that you don't get unbalanced.
I like it thematically, I should say. Like, it makes sense. You do this crazy attack, and so one of you's kind of wiped out. But it's like, I almost never use that because I'm like, I don't want that person to be exhausted.
Right. Because it's interesting, because you got to look at, like, what's better? Me attacking once every other turn for 3 times the damage, or just attacking every turn?
Yeah. I think it depends on, like, also, like, who you're using. Because it's like, I do a lot of the unity attack with the main character and his sister. And the sister's the one that gets unbalanced and has to rest. Because of that, like, it's like, okay, well, like, I can still do pretty good damage with my main character while she rests. Or I can use that person to, like, while she's resting, I can equip items to her so that she can heal. That's actually another thing that's different with this game, I feel like, versus especially your Final Fantasies, is that you don't have access to your party bag unless you, for the most part, during a battle. So if you need to use medicine to heal yourself, you have to have medicine equipped to a character in order for them to use it.
And only they can use it on someone else or themselves.
Yeah, the inventory system took me a bit to get used to because of that, and just like equipping things. Like, I was really confused because I'm like, okay, this cape will improve me, but I'm holding it. I'm holding it.
Well, you're wearing it, so it's not taking up.
But it wasn't on my body. Like, it wasn't in a body spot. It was like, I'm holding it in the same place I'm holding my medicine. So I'm like, this is weird.
Well, but I mean, because it's like you have your head, your chest, and then a shield, or like your weapons are taking up your arms. So it's basically just another.
I get it. I assume it's just very abstracted, but it just seemed weird. Like, I have all these body parts. A body where I might put a cape, for instance. But nope, I'm holding it like I hold my medicines. It just seems weird to me. It's fine. I got it. I got the hang of it. But at first I was like, this is bizarre to me. Like, why does that work? I don't know.
Yeah. What is nice, though, is that medicines have stacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So while you do have a limited space per person, you could have 6 medicines per space.
Yeah. The thing that I wish you could do is combined, because like sometimes like you'll have like 2 3s.
Right.
And so, but that's still taking up a spot, and you don't have unlimited inventory space in this game.
That's why you use all of 1 stack first.
Well, I know, but like sometimes like because of like when characters bring in medicine. So there can be times when you're not using it, where like you just happen to have random stacks.
Yeah. I never got my my second base. I think that's what happens after I defeat the vampire. But I assume once you do, you have like a storage place there too.
Yes.
Which is great because if you're like me and you have all these items that are probably cool, but you're like, I don't need these yet. I don't know. I better not use them on the wrong person. You can put that in storage, so it clears up some of your inventory, which is great because I have all these things that I really should probably be using. But instead, I'm like, what if there's a better character to use these with? I don't know.
The problem with storage, and I will talk about this when we talk about the remaster, but the problem with storage is it is very tedious to transfer things in and out of storage and between characters because you have to unequip, put it somewhere, go to the next character, then find that item, put it on. And I always found, like, when I put stuff in storage, I never got it out again. Because usually when you got to the next town, you're selling your old equipment, you're putting on new equipment. When you find something, you're dumping it, putting on the new thing. And then there was hardly ever a reason for me to store things aside from maybe runes that I wanted to keep to put on someone later.
So let me ask you this, and this applies to almost any of these JRPGs. Are you the kind that uses your items pretty regularly, or are you like hold on to them till later and then at the end of the game you have like 8,000 of everything? Because I'm more in that second camp. Like, I will hold on to stuff because it might be useful later, and then it'll be the last fight and I don't need it because I've also leveled myself up sky high, and so then I just end the game with like a million things that I never used. Like, are you? But some people are better. Do you? Because if I put it in storage, I never get it out. That's functionally the same as me holding it till the end of the game and never using it. So I'm okay with that. But what are you guys like? Do you use your stuff pretty frequently?
I'm pretty middle of the road here. Like, I try to avoid, like, even if I have a character that's equipped with medicine, I try not to use it during the battles, but as soon as the battle's over, I go into the party and use it. Because this one has such a small holding limit on your items, I try to use stuff as much as I can, so that way I don't have to worry about throwing something away when I find something on the map or something like that.
It kind of depends on the game, I think. But I've slowly become under the camp of, if you get something, use it right away. Because I have been the person that holds on to it and then never uses it because of that. Or I will hold on to it and then the last thing is like super easy because you just dump everything.
Right.
But I feel like they give something to you at a certain time. They want you to use it at that time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the better way to do it. It's just not. I just never do that. I should.
Well, it's like I think the big example is when I play Fallout. I'm playing, what is it, Fallout 4? Is that the most recent one?
Yeah.
It's not the MMO?
Yeah.
You get a gun, and you're like, oh man, I could, this nuke gun or whatever, and I could save this for something really cool. And then you're saving it, and it's super heavy on your inventory. And then you never use it, because everything else dies to your rifle from a mile away. Stealth Hunter, that's what I always play. But, like, if you don't use it, what's the point? You know? Mm-hmm. Have fun, shoot it off, nuke a bunch of people.
Yeah, the thing that I like about this kind of games is that, like as soon as I find a new item, like, I'm immediately looking at the item and then seeing who will benefit. And it has, it'll show your green, like, if it benefits someone, it'll show in green and how much.
Plus or
minus. If it's minus, it's in red. If they can use it, but it's kind of a wash, they're in white. But if they can't use it, they're blacked out. So, like, as soon as I get a new item, I'm checking to see if it'll benefit anybody in my current party. If it is, I swap it out, and then, especially if it benefits one of my main characters, I will, when I switch it out, I'll grab the item that they did have and then see who can benefit from that, and just kind of work my way through those items until I finally just either everybody has that item or the lowest item is in my inventory, and then I can sell that when I get to the shop.
I do think even for someone like me, the restricted inventory, even though I feel like it is very restrictive because I just want to like amass everything I find ever and just hold on to it forever, it does encourage you to use it more because you do want to have space for these other things. And if you think you might use that thing later, you don't have to give it up to get this new thing. So it makes more sense in this game, even though sometimes I kind of cringe to it because of my weird, stupid instincts. It does encourage you to use those things more than some RPGs do, where you really can hoard a trillion of everything until the end of the game.
Something I do really like about this game is because you can make up a group of 6 people, there's a lot of like micromanaging in this game, which can be for some people, not for others, because not only do you have your weapon that you have to upgrade at the blacksmith, you have your armor that you have to upgrade at the armor store, you have items that you have to micromanage, you have runes that you can... Some people come with their own runes, especially if they're tied to a true rune. And then there's other ones that have like... And I don't think it tells you in 2, but I think when you get to 3 it starts telling you. But certain people have better proficiencies with certain runes. And depending on their like magic ability stat is... the more you use the rune and level up with the rune is how you get the different attacks or moves with the rune, because they open up like a whole different section. So like you have your fire, which are more going to be AoE type attacks. You have your electric, which are going to be more pinpoint attacks. Your lightning rune, fire rune, lightning rune. You have your wind rune, which is kind of a mix of healing and damage. You have your water rune, which is mostly healing and buffs. You have your earth rune, which can be a little bit of mix, kind of like the wind rune. But then you have vulnerabilities and things like that. So with 6 people, you get 6 runes, essentially. So you have to, like, figure out, like, oh, who's going to be my healer? Who's going to be damage dealers? And then on top of the elemental runes, you have... just other ones like the boar rune, the killer rune, things like that, which are actually improve your attack or certain stats that you have. Some can like protect others. So
and as your characters get stronger levels, they can unlock, like most characters can hold 1 rune, but as they get stronger they can hold more runes. So like right now, for like the sister, I have her having the water rune, and then because of that unity attack where she gets kind of knocked out for a round, I gave her the balance rune so she doesn't get knocked out now when I do the unity attack.
Oh, and then also with your group, every weapon is different. So a short weapon needs to be in the front row.
Yep.
And can only hit their front row. A middle weapon can be in the front or back and can only hit
The
2 rows.
Enemy's first row.
Even in the front? Okay. I may be thinking of a different...
Yeah.
Like I said, there's multiple games.
Yeah.
And then the long range, which benefits from being in the back row and can shoot any row. So... lots of different things you have to take into account when you're building your groups. And then along through the storyline, you don't always get to choose your group because certain people have to go on certain quests.
Along that same line, are you the type of player... I know like a lot of players with especially RPGs is that like they'll have like certain characters that they try to always have in their party, and then they can ignore certain characters, or there's people like me that try to kind of keep the characters around the same level all the time. So like if I'm changing out characters, like I'll kind of look and see like, okay, who's my low level people, let me try and put them in. If it's a really tough battle, I'll come back and change out for tougher characters, but I try to pull in my lower level characters so that I can get them to balance out and be close to where everybody else is at.
I think for me, it's kind of interesting because there's so many possible characters, but my tendency, I'm kind of in like a weird roleplay mindset where it's like, these are the characters I like, so I would want them by my side in a fight. As long as that makes for a viable team, that's what I'll do. If that would leave me, weak in a certain area, which I don't want to do, then I'll substitute out someone who I also like, but just, it wouldn't make my top 6 if this was Suikoden MySpace. So, but that's kind of typically what I would do. But I also don't want any of those characters to be weak, so I still think I would at least pull them out and do like a little grinding just to get them up so they're not so far behind. But in general, I'm going to pick the characters that I like the best when I can.
Yeah, I'm more of the mindset like David, is I will get with a group, I will stick with that group until maybe someone comes along that I like better or I want to replace. The hard part for me with these type of games is because there's a lot of menu management and money management to get everyone on an even playing field. You're going to be playing the game twice or 3 times as long than getting through the game. And some people like that. It's also hard because, like, what if my water rune person, I want to replace that. Okay, well, now I have to find someone else that's good with a water rune, that's in a long spot, that's, there's so many different things that go in with replacing your party that you might have to, and it's not hard to take off and put back on runes, but it is something that you would have to think about if you're trying to keep everyone around the same level.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's like I actually find it easier to manage that stuff because I'm keeping everybody around the same level, because then I can just be like, oh, okay, like I need to replace a long range person. Okay, I have all these long range people and they're all around the same, so I don't have to worry about like, oh, now I have to go grind to get this person up to where everybody else is at.
Yeah. I think what I like to do is I always like to have like one fire rune person, one lightning rune person, one water rune. Like those are what I consider the 3 main ones. But then I also like to have 2 people that can unite and hit everybody.
Yeah.
Which is really good for like your lesser bosses, not bosses, encounters. That's what I'm thinking
Just
of.
get rid of them quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you guys, because people play, especially JRPGs, tend to fall in one of 2 categories, although I suppose it's everything in the middle too. There's people who will just keep pushing through, and if an area's tough, they're going to get just strong enough to keep pushing through and moving forward the game. And there's people who get to a new area and decide, I'm going to grind the bejesus out of this area until I can literally stop everything, and then I'm going to move on. You know what I mean? Like, where do you guys fall in that?
I try to progress the game as it gives it to me. And I think, especially with this game in particular, you can do that because there's just no difficulty level. That's something to mention. It's just one flat difficulty. It's interesting though, because I played a game called Sea of Stars that there is no grinding. They show the monsters on the field, you kill them, they never come back. You can't grind. Yeah. So they tell you what level you should be, and you need to be good at the game. Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting, but like I know that there are games out there that you do run into the situation where if you were to just walk through, hit the boss, you are underleveled, so you need to walk around and level up.
I feel like the Final Fantasies especially have that where
you need to be a certain level to
you especially need to grind in the Final Fantasy games.
So what about you, Hilary? Are you the type to, just keep playing forward as best you can, or do you grind the heck out of everything?
I'm kind of a little bit more in the middle of the road with that. I tend to kind of go as far into the storyline as I can, and then when I get to an area where I'm struggling, even if I can beat the stuff, but it's kind of like iffy, like I'll sit there and grind for a little bit until I can beat the bad guys there a little easier.
Yeah. My tendency, although probably not in this game for a variety of reasons, but in a lot of RPGs, and maybe to some extent I'll do it here, I'll go to a new area, right? And so the monsters will invariably be tougher, kind of kick my butt. I'm not cool with that. So I grind until I can buy every bit of equipment, every upgrade I can in the area, and all those things that kick my ass, I can pretty much one-hit kill them. That's how far I grind, and then I move on. Which I know some people don't like because it means like the bosses may not be as challenging, but I'm playing this to feel like a big damn hero. You know what I mean? I want to go in and be like, oh yeah, big evil guy, I'm gonna stomp your ass right now, and that's what I do. But there are some RPGs, like, I didn't know this, but I guess Lunar starts scaling the difficulty of your enemies up, and you can actually, I guess it's actually possible for it to scale so much if you keep leveling that you actually literally make the game unbeatable, because like the bosses become so strong that no matter how much you've leveled, they just keep it getting exponentially stronger. And so you get to the point where you can no longer beat them. I never did that. I never leveled that bad. But if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have spent nearly as much time grinding in that game. I had no clue. And I was like, this is still a challenge. Yeah, it is. No kidding.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is, especially with this game, you can look at how quickly you're beating the regular encounters and judge how you're going to do against the boss.
Yeah.
There's usually a good correlation. It is to note that you have to sleep in inns, I believe, to replenish your
magic
runes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually,
so that's something you got to think about when in a cave. You want to try to either, if you're going to grind, use your runes and then hop out, sleep, and then come back.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to go straight through, you want to conserve your runes for the boss, because you'll definitely need them.
Yeah. And this game actually does have a second way of using magic, and it's like, I can't remember what they call them, but they're like notes. And it's an item that you hold on to that is like a one-time use magic. So
It's like a scroll in D&D.
Yeah.
Where it just kind of burns up after you use it.
That's only one of the battle systems. We got
Yeah, I never did the duel.
duels,
so.
which are like rock, paper, scissors.
yes, you did.
Did I? Who did I fight? I don't remember this rock,
Flick.
paper, scissors thing. Who?
You must have Flick or
I just don't remember how it went.
the
So
guy
you,
blue.
you guys will have to talk about
Yeah.
that. I don't remember how that happened.
Yeah, so they're interesting because they are rock, paper, scissors, but they don't. You're not guessing. If you can obviously use walkthroughs, but you have to base it on what your opponent is saying. So like when they're saying like, "Oh, give me your best shot," they're probably going to defend, and they want you to attack. If they say like, "I'm coming after you," they're attacking, and stuff like that. And so, while you almost always take damage, if you pick the same as them, you'll both take damage. Or if you both pick defend, then you awkwardly stare at each other. And then there's like I forget what they call it in this one, but there's usually like an all-out attack.
Yeah, it's like it's either a special attack or like it's weird because it's like the original game calls it one thing, and then the new HD one calls it something else. So it depends on where you're looking at.
I played them both. But yeah. So like if you all-out attack against their defense, they're gonna jump back and then hit you for a counter strike. But if you all-out attack during their attack, you will interrupt their attack and do like a double hit.
Yeah, because it's rock, paper, scissors. It's basically defend beats attack, the special attack beats attack, and then the defense, I think, like, it, I can't, I'm trying to remember the triangle, but...
Attack beats defense, because even though you're going to only do, like, half damage, you're still doing damage and not taking damage back. All-out attack beats attack, because you're going to interrupt. And then defense beats all-out attack, because you're going to jump back and counter.
Yeah.
And like I said, it all depends on what the dialogue that the person says. You have to read into that.
Yeah, sometimes it's very obvious. Sometimes it's like, oh, like they're going to do this or this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, let me see your best shot or something. They want you to attack, and they're going to defend or something. But if you confuse that and they are attacking, then you kind of hit each other. I don't know what happens if you super attack each other. I think you both take double damage.
I think so.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Because you only have so much, and they're all one-on-ones.
Yeah, and it also, like, how much damage you're dealing to each other also depends on the level of your character, too. So if you're under-leveled,
and the power of your weapon.
Yeah, so it's like if you're under level, have a weaker weapon, then you can't take as much damage from them, and you're not dealing out as much damage. So being able to call those shots correctly makes a much bigger difference in the duel.
Yeah.
So.
And I can't recall if the duels in this one are as important as they are in the first one. There's a big importance.
Yeah, it depends on. I think it depends on the duel. The very first one that you do, if you lose, it ends the game there instead of just being like, oh, like, okay, now I'm gonna go off and do this.
Right.
There's a couple of them where it won't end the game, but you can't progress in the game until you win the duel.
Oh, so you can have to keep going back.
Yeah.
Because there is one in the first game, and I'm gonna spoil it because it's super long time ago. But there's one where you have, it's not your main character, it's a side character, and you fight your main character's dad. And he is protecting you as you run away. Well, if you were to just play the game normally, it is like a lose situation, but he comes back and, whatnot. He helped you escape. So regardless if you win or lose, the outcome's roughly the same. He stalled long enough so the main character can escape. The problem is, and it doesn't have any, I don't know the story point in the game, but if you beat the character, which means you have to make sure he's at a decent level, there goes the grinding, right? Mm-hmm. You have to make sure his weapon is capped as high as it can be, and you have to be on point with your dialogue. If you can beat that character, that's the only way to get all 108 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
otherwise you'll end with 100.
Yeah, I find that's one of the issues that I have with the Suikoden games overall, is that there's some characters where you have to do such a specific thing in order to recruit them, and unless you know that, it's so easy to not get all 108 characters. And again, that's kind of why I'm playing this one with the walkthrough, because I want to try and get all 108 if I can. There's one character that I did what the walkthrough said, and actually it's kind of the walkthrough I'm following is actually for the HD. So occasionally there'll be something where I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if this is wrong because of I'm playing the original, not the HD, and that's why I know the wordings are sometimes different. There's a couple things where I'm like, okay, well, I did this thing, but I've not seen this, I fought this person in this battle, which is saying that's how you recruit them, but they haven't been recruited, so I don't know if that just means later on I'll recruit them because I attacked them in this battle, or if that just didn't work.
Yeah, and that is something that's pretty difficult about this game in regards to collecting everybody. While there are no chapters or acts or type thing, if you get to a certain progression, it'll unlock characters, but they could be in cities that you've already been to. Mm-hmm. So it seems like every time you progress the story, you have to walk all the way around, double check everything if you're not using a walkthrough. Yeah. Find the person. But if you go too far and progress the story, sometimes they're only available in between those two portions, and you'll lose them. But so there's that. And then there's a third battle system, which is kind of like a tactical type thing.
Yeah,
where
is
you
it
make groups.
Shining Force or Fire Emblem or something?
Fire Emblem, yeah. Because you move them into a thing, and then they do their attacks.
Yeah, they call them the massive battles.
Mm-hmm. I really like those parts, and I'm not that far into the game. I hope there's a good number more of them. I don't know if there will be, but one thing that does kind of drive me nuts, and I'm curious if it bugs you, is your foot guys can only move one square at a time. I'm like, this feels so slow. Can we do if they spread things out more and let me move 3 squares, it'd feel so much better. I wish you could just do that. I understand the cavalry can move further, of course, but it's man, 1 square at a time, you guys. It's killing me, but...
Well, but at the same time, you're only dealing with a 8x8 grid, so...
Yeah, that's true. It's not that big a grid, that's true.
So... It's interesting because I played multiple Suikoden games. This is your first, right?
I played a little bit of one, but not too much.
And you played the later ones. Mm-hmm. I have not played the later ones, or haven't played that much of them. I don't know what their massive battles are, but I feel like this is the one thing that Suikoden couldn't agree on between games, because the duels are the same. For the most part, the regular battle system is the same. Then it gets weird because the first game, the massive battles, are, again, like a rock, paper, scissors-y type thing, where you have a whole bunch of guys on each group, and they're like little sprites that walk around. They're pretty cute. And then you have like different actions where you can use like intelligence and figure out what they think that they're going to do. You can try to recruit enemies, and then you can do your attack, where magic beats melee, archery beats magic. I don't remember exactly in the first one, but then in the second one they do it into like a more grid-based tactical, and then in the third one it's even different again. It still does the tactical, but they're like circles. It's more like Risk, I guess, where you can like go different paths. And I don't know how it is in the later ones.
I think the main one that I played was, I believe it's 4. That one's all by sea, and so it's that one. The mass battles, you're moving ships around, and then you can either get up close to a ship and do like a agile battle, or you can fire your cannons. But then with firing the cannons, it also takes into effect which way your ship is facing. So like you can move your ship across the board, but then you also have to figure out which direction you want your ship to be.
They're really doing like serious like naval battle kind of rules. Yeah.
Interesting.
One thing, okay, this is a minor thing, you guys, but when your two of your forces clash, it'll go to a little graphic of, all their troops of whatever type on one side and all yours on the other, and they just kind of run together, and they basically, fight in the middle and then pass each other and end up on opposite sides, but they're shrunk down, and I love how they sound like little chipmunks. They're like,
see, that's how the first game works. That was the whole battle system in the first game.
I kind of love it. It's like, I just want to see them. And then, some of them will die in the middle, which I guess is sad, but I don't know, the chipmunk voices, that's funny.
The one nice thing, because, they'll, like, pass each other, and then some will be dead on the ground, right?
Yeah.
In the first one, they'll, like, go up to in the sky as little angels.
Wow.
Now, I'm not positive. It's been a little bit, but in the massive battles in the second one, can you lose characters permanently? In the first one, you can't.
I don't believe so.
I know I saw one character, like, he got defeated, but it just said he was injured.
Yeah.
And that was it. I don't know if that's always the case, but...
Yeah, I've run into where the character has been defeated on the battlefield, but they didn't, like, die in the game. So.
I wonder if they changed that then. Because that was huge. They could just die if you press the wrong button.
That is rough.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about the differences between the remaster and the current one.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Because there's some positives and negatives to it. So with the inventory system, you can take an item and give it to another player.
Oh.
Just straight. The problem is it won't tell you, it doesn't, it shows the person that you're taking the item from, and then there's just like a pop-up of your other group members, and it doesn't pop up their equipment system.
Oh.
So if you're trying to give something to someone who's already at full, it won't tell you that. It just says, oh, you can't give it to them. Great. So at least you don't have to like unequip it, back out, do all this stuff. There's difficulty levels. So there's a story mode, there's the way it's intended to be played, and then there's a harder mode which ups the damage and health for the enemies. For people who want a little more of a challenge. I do feel like the normal mode on this game is a little easy. I never really had difficulty beating certain things. But that being said, it kind of depends on your playstyle of grinding and what. I don't feel like the difficulty spike in just giving them more life and stuff like that is that interesting. I always want the difficulty level to make the AI a little like, oh, they shouldn't be attacking the person that is trying to heal you or whatnot.
Well, and especially with this game, because like there's not like a life meter on the enemies. So, like, you don't really, as you're playing the game, you're not gonna really know that they have more health than they would otherwise. So,
yeah. And then there is obviously the graphics are better. I think the text is updated to be a little better translated. The person that pops up with your text is a lot better picture. And then you can fast forward battles. So the downside with fast forwarding battles is they fast forward the music too. So while yes, cool, you're going, you're speeding up the normal encounters, but you're also listening to which I don't know. I don't think that the battles, aside from maybe some of the rune animations, are that tedious anyways, because what is nice about this game is it is turn-based. You select your mode for everybody, and then everybody fights at once. So sometimes two people go up and attack.
Yeah.
Some your enemy is attacking as someone else is going up and attacking.
Yeah, I love that about
and
this.
things like that.
So
So it does move it a little quicker. But I think that was really the only upgrade. Oh, there is autosave when you walk into the same room as a save point. So if you walk into an inn, it'll autosave. If you walk into a part of the cave or dungeon that the save point is somewhere on there, it'll autosave. Which is nice because sometimes you might not make it to that save point. Sometimes you'll maybe not pay attention and just skip over it. But that was something I noticed, and maybe my son will talk on it. Like when you start this game, you have to go like 30, 40 minutes before you can.
There's a lot of dead space in between save points in this game.
Yeah, I was using save states as usual, so I didn't notice as much, but I believe you. It's the wave of the future. Except for it's now, so it's the wave of the now. You should do it. It changes your life.
I still haven't even looked to see how to do it.
There's got to be a way. I'm sure there's a way. I don't know exactly what it is because it depends on what it has set up as like a hotkey. Like me, I hit select and then the right shoulder button, and it automatically saves it. And if I hit select and the left shoulder button, it loads my last save state.
Interesting.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that would be a downside, I would say, to this game.
Yeah.
Is you do have to progress, and some people don't have 20, 30 minutes in between or more, depending on what you're doing, if you get lost or things like that.
Yeah, like the nice thing is that you can pull up the menu, which kind of puts a pause on the game, but
And just like your thing.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Is that it is meant to be a game where you're probably planning to sit in front of your TV for a few hours and do it. It's I'm playing on a mobile device. If it didn't have the save states, it's not really a mobile kind of game. So it's I don't know. I'm assuming the HD thing is on the Switch, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, you can get it on the Switch. You can get it on PC.
Yeah.
I think you can get it on PlayStation.
Right.
I think you can get it on most any of the games.
Yeah. If the save points are basically the same distance apart, I don't know if I'd take my Switch and be playing that, for a few minutes at a time. I don't know if it makes sense to do that very much. So
something to note, I think if you're just doing the main storyline, it's about 33 to 35 hours. If you are trying to be a completionist and get all 108 stars perfect ending, it's about 52.
Yeah, I kept putting my thing into sleep mode instead of turning it all the way off, so it thinks I'm 25% of the way in the game, and I've been playing for over 30 hours. But I have not been going that slow. I maybe could have gone faster, but definitely not that slow. So,
yeah.
But I can't tell by time how far I'm into there. So,
what do you guys think about recommending replayability, those type of things?
I think I would 100% recommend it. There are a couple things that in the beginning it took me a while to get used to, like the inventory. And maybe I'm not talking to the right people, but I had trouble figuring out where to go. That being said, minor complaints. My main worry going into this is with so many characters, am I going to care about any of them, or are they just going to be like, that's another sword guy? And that they do a really good job. Granted, I don't have all the characters yet, but I have an opinion on almost every character. Some I like better than others, but I have some I'm drawn to, and the ones I'm not drawn to, it's not because there's nothing there. It's just I just don't like that character as much. So it's really wrapped me into it, and I'm just getting to the point where things are getting really interesting, and even after this, I want to keep playing. I'll have to probably play all over again from the beginning because of my system having the problem it had. And I'm still thinking I might just do that, even if I can't download a similar save off the net. I might just play through it anyway. I think it's great. Replay, if you just play through straight and you're not worried about getting the characters, I think you probably want to replay it and get them all just to see that ending. If you get all the characters first, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily replay it, but it's worth experiencing even if it's just once, I think, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially if you are someone that likes RPGs, it's definitely a game that you should check out. If you're playing it to completion, then I don't think there's a whole lot of replayability unless you just really like the game. But if you're just going through it and not really caring about collecting all the characters, then I think you can go through it and then play again and trying to collect everyone. So.
Yeah, I'd agree. So I would strongly recommend the whole series. If you can, start with the first one, go to the second one. You don't need the first one to play the second one. You know, you can pick up. There's enough story there. It's great. However, because this is only 3 years after the first one, and there are reoccurring characters, you'll get a lot of backstory on those characters from playing the first one. Replayability, I agree. If you're gonna just play through it blind, and then you want to collect all the characters to see what's different, then there's replayability there. If you want to try out different characters in your group because you didn't use them the first time, or things like that, or you want to make like I don't know, there's so many people that go together finding all the combinations and things like that, then there's replayability there. Oh, we didn't even talk about the base building. There's base building.
There's so much going on.
Yeah, so strongly recommend some replayability, as is most JRPGs, but it's not to the point where if you take one step, you're going to go a whole different path.
Yeah.
Like some RPGs, so...
Yeah, don't ignore this one. It's not as, if you're looking at the same era, it's not as flashy as any of the Final Fantasies, but I would put it up against them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
easily.
This is my favorite JRPG series.
Yeah.
I would recommend, though, if you're not going to play it on emulator, to purchase the remaster, because you get 1 and 2, and there is a big reason why to purchase the remaster as opposed to trying to find this game.
Yes, because if you wanted to buy a copy of this game, and granted, the numbers I'm going to tell you, by the way, I think have gone down from the peak.
Because of the remaster?
Probably. If you want just the disc, like some kind of lunatic, it's $100, just the disc alone. I never do that. I hate going to GameStop and like you could try and order a used game. It's like, well, you might or might not get the case, then I'm not going to buy it. I need to know. Anyway, that's just me. If you want it complete, so case instructions, $173, better than I thought it was going to be. If you want a brand new, $651. I'm almost certain this is over $1,000 at some point.
Oh yeah. Well, I think just the disc. I think they've all like dropped, because I think the disc itself used to be like $120.
Yeah.
$50.
Ease of accessibility on this has made it a little cheaper, although of course you still have collectors.
I think the first one is also going to be in like the $70 to $80 range for Suikoden 1 for just disc. But you'll tell me.
Okay, so Suikoden 1, just the disc is like not quite 30 actually.
Oh.
Complete 55, brand new 212 basically.
Oh, I think those prices have also come down.
I think so too. Yeah.
But the fact that you can get the remaster for $50 is, and if there's Steam sales, or I don't think Nintendo does sales.
Not really.
Yeah, almost never.
But those, you get both of them. You play the first one, it auto jumps it into the second one. Hopefully the remaster of the third one will come out soon. Yeah. That's my favorite, personally, because there's multiple storylines and it jumps around.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this, like, a lot of times I see these collector prices, and I think it's kind of insane for the gameplay you're getting. And again, like
Well, you're not getting gameplay because you're not opening it, right?
I will open the games unless I just happen to have got one that I never opened on accident. I don't try to keep them sealed, but I would never just buy the disc of a game. I hate that. I just don't like that. See, if I didn't have it, and if my financial situation was not that precarious, it would be. I would think about it for a bit. But if I spend $173 on Suikoden 2, I don't think I'd ever be mad I did it. Honestly,
No.
That is a lot for that game, and you should play the remaster because you can. But I'm just saying, like,
If the remaster wasn't out.
yeah, those things aside, if I just wanted that in my collection because of the quality of the game it is, even though that is a very high price, I know that, but I wouldn't be mad that I did it, really.
Well, it's a reason why it was in the top 5. I'm pretty sure this one was in the top 5 of Player Choice Metacritic.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah.
So,
So, not saying you all should do that, that's up to you, but I would not be mad personally if I did that.
I think it's well worth it.
Me too. Okay, so we're going to go to the kids' corner, and you can see what the kids thought about this, and then we'll be back to figure out what game we're playing next and what the next kind of game we're going to be looking into will be.
We are here in Kids Corner. We are talking with Vinny. What games have you been playing?
I've been playing Cuphead. I've been playing lots of Steel Brain Rot on Roblox and lots of other Roblox games. And like recently, a couple minutes ago, I was playing Undertale and Sonic Superstars.
Nice.
Nice. We played Cuphead together,
Yeah.
and I was doing decent. Not as good as Vinny. Vinny can do like no hit, getting not hit once, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I did that literally today.
Yeah.
First try.
And I enjoyed the airplane levels. I think I was the best at those. Not better than you. I think of the games that we played.
No. You are way much better than me on the airplane levels.
Thank you.
No, I kept dying on, like, you know the house that has the bed inside of it? I kept dying on that one, and then my dad couldn't save me anymore, and he just finished the fight.
Sometimes you gotta tell your kids, sorry, I can't save you. Let him go.
Yeah. So we are talking about the game Suikoden II. Have you heard of this series prior to playing the game?
No.
If you had to guess, how many Suikoden games do you think there are?
8.
5. Actually, there could be 8
Kind of right.
total
It's tactics
games.
and the guidance.
Yeah.
They didn't all make it to the US.
Cheeky. But there are 5 mainline games. I think this is your first PlayStation 1 game that you played. What did you think of the graphics?
It was really good.
You played Pokemon games, right? Now,
Yeah.
I would consider Pokemon games an RPG. But other than that, was this... Oh, no, you played Mario RPG as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think Pokemon's a RPG.
Interesting. We talked about what makes an RPG. What is your definition of an RPG?
RPG is like, there's like a story, and you have multiple characters fighting at the same time, and all of them get a turn, and then the other people will attack, and there's multiple other enemies.
Okay. So, would you consider Pokemon not an RPG because you only fight one Pokemon at a time?
Yeah, but like Mario RPG is like an RPG game because it has like 3 people fighting at a time.
It better be. They have to change the name, huh? They can't be calling it Mario RPG if it's not an RPG. That would be terrible.
Did you find the game likable or was it a little confusing?
I liked it, and one part was confusing. That random, like when you're supposed to clean up the room and like push the boxes, there was like one box that was not able to fit on the wall.
I know what you're talking about.
What did you think of the battle system?
It was fun, but it like only left after like if I did that team move, then it only left one guy remaining.
Yeah, out of what, 4?
Yeah.
So did you find that maybe a little easy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no difficulty levels. So, what about the instructions and the story? Did you like having to read
Yes.
all this stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you recommend this game to others?
Yes.
Do you think you want to continue trying to play this game?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you
I've been asking you every single day, but you said we don't have time.
Yeah. He's been asking me at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it's a hard time to start playing a game
Yeah.
like this. It's a little right by bedtime.
But
yeah.
I think
I got to sleep at 10.
Oh, okay.
But I think the difficult part in this regards was I had offered for him to play it by himself. And I think that these type of games, especially if he accidentally skips over a certain story portion, like David did, then he might get lost and not know where to go.
I'm busy. I don't have time to listen to every town person yabber at me. You know.
So
You
Vinny,
just have to listen to the right ones.
Yeah, well.
Vinny, this game is one of the most expensive PlayStation 1 games if you were to try to buy it. If you were just to try to buy it, the CD, it's $100. If you wanted the case, it's $170. And then if you wanted it all wrapped up, it's what, $650?
Something like that, yeah.
No, I don't care if it's all wrapped up.
Yeah.
It's just, like, at least it has to be working. That's all I care about to play the game.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
All right, so now it's time to figure out what we're going to be playing for the next episode. And this time we had to pick from platform games on the Sega Game Gear. So, Steve, do you want to talk about your picks?
Yeah. So when I think of Sega, main game I think of Sonic the Hedgehog. I remember playing it on the Game Gear. It's pretty
Nice.
similar to the regular Sega, if I recall. This is years ago. So I thought that was going to be pretty good. I picked Lion King before Hilary could pick it. I knew it was going to be picked by her. So I decided to step up and take that one. Thank goodness I don't think she double picked it. And then another game that I haven't heard of, but it has to be better than Lion King. Dynamite Heady?
I think it's Eddie.
Yeah. It said it was a platformer. Never heard of it, so it's kind of a shot in the dark.
Right on. I'll do my picks next. So, my first pick was Tails Adventure, which is the Tales of Sonic the Hedgehog fame, and it's kind of a Metroidvania, which has me really curious, because that seems strange. My other pick was Shinobi 2 The Silent Fury. They also have Shinobi 1, but I heard that one's way harder, so I'm like, I don't...
I've never even heard of that series.
Oh, Shinobi's a big Sega series. Before Sonic, there was Shinobi, and then Sonic came and people started caring. But no, it's a good series. It's cool. And then my third pick, which is the one I'm least sure about, is Jurassic Park, which doesn't sound necessarily bad. Yeah, I think every system had kind of a different version of it, but it sounds like it might be not as challenging as it should be, but we'll see. I don't know. So those are my three picks. Hilary?
Alright. So I was going to pick Aladdin, but I'm actually going to change my first pick to The Lion King so we can double up on it, because it's okay to double up on games.
Well, you shouldn't pick it, so. It doesn't matter. It's just as hard. I'm surprised, because if you would have picked Aladdin, this would have been like your third time picking.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little surprised.
So yeah, I'm going to double up on The Lion King instead. Then my next pick is it's a game where you're running around playing as the little 7-Up Spot. And it's a game I didn't have the Game Gear, but I did play it on one of the other systems. It was one of the games that I rented it, and I actually enjoyed it a lot, so I rented it a few times so that I could beat it. And then my last pick is Ariel, the Little Mermaid.
How's this going to be a platformer?
Yeah, it like the video that I saw, like it was when she was still a mermaid and you're kind of swimming around and trying to find something. I don't know.
Are there flat
But
surfaces in the game?
I don't know.
If it's like I played the NES version. if it's anything like that. So you swim around. There is times where you get out of the water and you like flop on the thing.
Platform.
So,
But like when you're swimming around, it looked platformy, and it was labeled as a platform game. But actually, the main reason why it doesn't look like a super great game, but the reason why I did pick it is because it kind of reminded me of the old handheld Tiger games, where it was just a really simple game, normally based off of some kind of IP. When I was probably like first, second grade, I lived with my mom and grandma, and they didn't really want me playing video games, but they knew I liked video games, so they would buy me those. And so I would get very bored with them.
They're trying to make you not like video games.
Yeah. And so, like, I remember having the Beauty and the Beast one, and I got bored with it very quickly, so I decided that I wanted to see how it actually worked and took it apart to look at all the computer parts. And
Will you build a new one?
yeah, they're probably not that hard to build.
Probably not.
well, if we do get Ariel, I bet my girls would love to try
That's
that.
true. All right.
They used to really be into Lion King, too.
Oh, goodness.
I don't think the kids' insurance covers that kind of therapy, though.
All right, so let's do some voting. Steve, do you want to pick first? What you're going to double up on?
No.
Okay. Valerie, do you want to pick first?
I'm actually going to vote for Cool Spot, because watching the videos of that kind of made me want to replay that game. So
Okay. Cool. Spot. Steve?
Was Jurassic Park your bad pick?
Yes. I don't know if it's actually bad, but
Right.
it's, you know.
But it was your unsure pick?
Yeah.
I'd be interested in that, but
Maybe
just to
this
see
is-
how different it is.
Yeah.
We'll go Tales Adventure.
Okay.
Just so, I think Sonic's kind of probably overdone.
Okay, I was also going to pick Tales Adventure, so that one's got a decent shot.
Vinny?
I was also going to pick Tails.
All right.
Get Lion King out of here.
All right, guys, so let's see what this gives us. Yep.
12 is someone's pick.
12 is a game that is a little bit slower paced, a platformer where you explore islands, collect gadgets, and uncover secrets in a Metroidvania style adventure as Miles Prower. So this is Tales Adventure. Also, what I didn't know until recently, Miles Prower is a wordplay, miles per hour.
Yeah.
I did not know that until I've known about this character for decades, and I didn't know this till like 3 weeks ago or something. I'm very disappointed in myself. Anyway, so
Make
there we
it
go.
our oldest to comment next week, then.
Yeah, our oldest kid is Sonic obsessed.
Yeah, she's our local
So-
Sonic.
Well, see, I don't know if
Yeah.
Tails specifically is like her favorite, but I don't think she minds them. So, all right, let's find out the kind of game that we are going to be bringing to the table next to see what we'll be playing on the following episode. All right, so now I'm going to randomize it.
Geos.
Oh boy, okay. So it's going to be on the Neo Geo, or a Neo Geo system. So that could be the Neo Geo CD, or the Neo Geo Pocket Color. So any one of those is fine.
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
Oh, it's good. It's limited in the kind of games it has, so we'll see what we get here. The Neo Geo, there are certain types of games that are very, very underrepresented that we probably will have to re-roll again if we get one of those because of how it is. So it has to be a fantasy-themed game on the Neo Geo. The Neo Geo is weird because if you ever went to an arcade, they'd have these cabinets and they'd have like 3 or 4 games in them and you could pick. And the hardware in there is exactly the same as the Neo Geo home system, and the games were basically exactly the same. So most of what is on there is arcade-style games. Until you get to the Neo Geo Pocket Color, which was a handheld that had like a few things that didn't fit that mold, but otherwise it had to be a game that you could like plunk quarters in and play. That's why like you're not going to find RPGs on there. It just wouldn't work. But a fantasy-themed game, fantasy games on the Neo Geo, that is a thing that we can do. So that's going to be interesting. I'm excited about it. Neo Geo is a cool system, and it's not a system where the games will take 50 hours to beat. All right, so guys, anything else you wanted to talk about or say before we go?
No, I think I'm good.
I guess that's it. Make sure that if you haven't subscribed, do so. Give us 5 stars or whatever the equivalent is on your podcast thing. Leave a comment if you can. All that kind of stuff helps. Tell your friends.
Join our Facebook or follow us on Instagram so that you can give us input. So when we have a fan pick choice,
We also have a Discord. All these links are in the description, which I think we're the only people. There's one other person in it right now. So you could get in early, start telling us your fan picks, and your picks have a better chance of getting put on to the show. So do that, and also we feel like losers because there's no one. Help us out. I don't want to cry myself to sleep again. Please. Or don't. Do what you want. I don't know. Anyway, but that's it until next time. So we'll see you then. Bye.
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 Sounds like next week they're playing a game on a little handheld, a system that's almost as small as their audience.